Hello everyone. I'm back on a ranked match that I felt pretty proud of. A starting in F5 there, a sub 14, nothing too special, but I think I played it really. I think I played it pretty well. But we're not here to talk about ranked. We are here to talk about life. I am hopping on the trend, all right, where all these MCSR YouTubers are talking about their personal things, whatever's going on in their life over their gameplay. Except it's gold, high gold, low emerald gameplay. Anyway, besides the point, I'm here to talk about rejection, as the title says. Now, rejection is it sucks, everyone goes. I like to think everybody goes through it, unless you're some golden child that always gets what they want. Then frick you. No, but in all seriousness, rejection is a fact of life, and today I think I learned some valuable lessons about rejection, particularly being rejected by a girl who I was interested in. Not a huge crush, because I we weren't really like talking too much, but we had like little bits and pieces there, and you know anyway, basically bottom line is some girl that I only chatted with a few times really, um, that I asked out to coffee, and she said no. That's what a rejection is, and and I ended up being okay. Was the first lesson after the rejection. When you receive rejection, almost every single time, like pretty much every single time, you're gonna be okay. Your world isn't falling apart, and I know most people don't think it, but at least for me, my anxiety of like rejection, like I feel like my heart pounding, my brain racing, like it feels like the world's gonna end, based on how they respond, and whether it be a yes or no, you're gonna be okay. It really doesn't matter, and I know it's really stupid and simple, and I'm sure a lot of people have learned it already. At this point in our lives, I'm in my third year of college, and I feel like I'm still learning. But this was a really big step towards like realizing that, hey, what yeah, rejection isn't the end of the world, and this doesn't just apply to dating. This applies to work. It doesn't mean, oh, like yeah, your world doesn't fall apart. That's step one basically. Lesson two was that it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to tie your self-worth to the rejection. You don't have to treat it like failure. It's most of the time, or pretty much every time, it's just because you're not compatible. You're not compatible with the job. You're not compatible with the person. You're not compatible for whatever it is. And that doesn't necessarily. I mean, yes, maybe it means, oh, you're not where you want to be. Like, let's say it's work. It's like, oh, you don't have the experience that we're looking for. We can't take you in. They might say, and you know maybe you'll think of it as, oh, I'm not where I want to be, but it doesn't necessarily mean failure, because you can also take it as the courage that you put yourself out there, and then you know what to work on if it's something like a job interview. And if it's something like rejection, most of the time it's just that the person isn't, it's just that person's, it's on that person basically. It's their preference. They're not either not interested, or et cetera, et cetera, right? And that, yeah, and you basically, to put it simply, I guess, is you don't have to take it too seriously. Like, you don't have to take it personally, I think is the right word. As I'm doing this Bastion round, with a beautiful Bastion, by the way, I do have to comment on that. I think my opponent definitely just died in the Bastion here. But yeah, just to recap what we've done so far, your world doesn't fall apart when you get rejected, and two, it's not just because you failed that you got rejected. It could just mean you're not the right fit right now, or not for that person or for that job, just in general. Right now, you're not the right fit, and that's okay. For lesson three, I don't even know if there's a lesson three. I think I should just, instead of trying to spout wisdom, I should run down kind of the context. I obviously will keep things anonymous. Okay. So this girl, I'll call her I'll call her Rebecca. All right. So Rebecca and I went to the same middle school and high school, and or yeah, she moved into my middle school like on our last year of middle school, and oh, mysterious new girl, catch my attention, develop a little crush there. Okay, whatever. I move on with my life anyway. Like, and into high school, same deal, kind of just passing. We didn't really have any classes together, even though in high school, I feel like, or at least for the type of high school I went to, like I feel like you're bound to be in classes with just about everybody in your grade at some point, like during your 4 years there. But I just never really had her in my class, except for maybe one like Spanish class in my first year. But that's like so inconsequential to my journey in romance. Like I didn't have my first relationship until my senior year. Like it's so inconsequential. But yeah, I'm just kind of like noticing this girl on the side. Like she's cute. You know, I'd like to get her to know her more, but I never really acted on it ever. And especially when I got in a relationship in my senior year, like no way that's gonna happen. I'm cuffed. Like gotta stay faithful, and I was very happy in that relationship regardless. So so yeah, um, but yeah, basically yeah. Now I'm broken off with my ex since May, and months later, I you know I was thinking a lot about the breakup, and it was a good relationship, and I feel like I regretted a lot of things, and I felt justified in a lot of decisions I made. I think I was pretty much the one who initiated like breaking it off. Um, but yeah, no, it took a few months to ponder it. It's September, and then I think I don't know. I just thought of her again. It wasn't even an Instagram post. Normally, it's an Instagram post or me seeing her on campus. That reminds me, like, hey, she exists. That hey, Rebecca exists. But no, I just it just popped in my mind. Um, and yeah, no, I just thought, okay, I feel like she doesn't. I also mainly pick on obviously girls who I think are single, not necessarily to say that they're you know not suitable to date any guy, but more so like I'm obviously not gonna ask out a girl who has a boyfriend. Like I have empathy, sympathy, one of the two for the guy in that sort of situation. I don't want to step on anyone's toes type. You know, but yeah, I generally pick on girls who are I feel like are available, and I have a decent shot. We've talked before, type, or that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, and that just got me thinking about it. Um, I actually ended up using ChatGPT a lot because I've like no, I don't feel comfortable with any of my friends talking about this because of history reasons, right? A lot of my friends know me and Rebecca differently as different people, and I don't really want like their bias, I guess, to get in the way. So I used ChatGPT to sort of like draft like my first messages. It was so bad, but it helped give me ideas. Very thankful for that. As silly as it sounds, but yeah, no. And then I sort of worked up the courage finally to just send it, ask her out for coffee, very clear that I was interested in, or tried to be as clear as possible that I was interested in her, more than just friends. I said, hey, I thought you were cool, Rebecca, let's go grab some coffee sometime. And she's in a sorority, so I recognize she's busy, so I thought, okay, it might take a sec to get a response, but she did respond within the same day, which as bad as it sounds, I was very grateful that it was same day response. She took it very seriously. I was very thankful, and she yeah, like the title says, she rejected me basically, and said I'm already dating someone. So that's that. I know some girls say that, oh, I'm already in a relationship, just as like an easy way to reject someone without making it like too awkward. But I guess I don't believe that was where she was coming from. She sounded very kind and thankful and empathetic. Thankful that I was courageous enough to ask, or at least that's what I'd like to think, and let me down really easy. So I guess the lesson number three with a girl like that, Rebecca, thank you. I don't know if this will ever reach you. I don't think it will. But thank you. You know who you are. Um, and and yeah, the lesson number three I'd say is that, or at least for me, was that there are people. I'm blessed to have very kind and empathetic and genuine people for the most part in my life, or at least, if not genuine, trying to be as genuine as possible, right? I think that is something I'm very grateful for. Something that I might have taken for granted during my past relationship, but it's something that you know, I'm developing, regaining my trust in love, I guess, for people. I'm very happy that I asked Rebecca out. It was it was my first rejection. I don't even know if I said that. It's my first official rejection from a girl. Like, I feel like, I only ever asked out my girlfriend ever, like officially. And I've technically, maybe, also this nav sucked, like, had to mine out the spider spawner, but yeah, technically I rejected someone else, but that was like, what, third grade? Doesn't really count. But no, I've never been the one rejected. I have a friend, a dear friend of mine actually, um, who gave me many stories of getting rejected himself all the time, or at least back when we were in high school. And I think I put him, I thought of him pretty poorly at first when it came to that. Like, oh, like he's just a hopeless romantic, or I don't know if that's the right word, but keeps getting rejected. Girls don't really want him. But now, with my perspective, like, you know, rejection doesn't mean you're unlovable. And my new perspective that rejection, or getting rejected or putting yourself out there to be rejected is a sign of courage. That sort of made me think, man, my friend is very admirable for getting rejected by all those girls all the time. Anyway, I feel like I've been running on for so long. We're about to hit the end. I don't have much more to say, really. I'm just very happy that I worked up the courage to do something like that and that I got rejected. And I feel like I took it really well. Of course, I think my mind spiraled into what ifs. Like, oh, what if she was flattered by my gesture anyway? Or, what if we always, I feel like she showed more interest when I was still in a relationship. Like, oh, what if we keep like trading spots of who's in a relationship and who's interested? And like, what if that's what we're having right now? Also, like, the pearl there was kind of fucked, but I still make it to 95, I guess, in this zero cycle. But, yeah, my mind spiraled into what ifs for a bit, but I know they're just what ifs. They're just how my outlet to process, what something that didn't happen, and or maybe my way to cope, I guess. But there's a zero cycle. No plus one, just a classic six explosive, I'd say. Close to a five explosive actually. Kind of messed up. But anyway, that's my rant on my gap on rejections. Thanks for watching, and let me know if this type of video is entertaining. So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.